July 3, 1890. Statehood secured. Idaho was officially admitted as the 43rd state of the United States. This milestone marked the culmination of a lengthy territorial evolution that reflected broader patterns of expansion, resource development, and political negotiation in the American West during the late 19th century. Idaho's admission to the Union held national importance, as it signified the strengthening of federal control in a region that had previously been dominated by isolated settlements, mining interests, and indigenous resistance. Originally part of the Oregon Territory in the early 1800s, the area that became Idaho was restructured numerous times before achieving statehood. It was incorporated into the Washington Territory in 1853 and then formed into the separate Idaho Territory on March 4, 1863. The Idaho Territory was established by Congress amid the American Civil War, reflecting Union interests in solidifying political and economic control over Western territories. The name Idaho was first proposed in 1860 and was thought to be a Shoshone term meaning gem of the mountains, though later research suggested it was a fabrication. The discovery of gold in the 1860s was a major catalyst for Idaho's initial development. Towns such as Boise, Idaho City, and Lewiston rapidly expanded as miners and settlers arrived in search of fortune. The mining boom drove early economic activity and prompted the creation of infrastructure that supported the region's growth. Despite this development, Idaho's population remained relatively small and dispersed, delaying serious consideration for statehood in the decades that followed. By the 1880s, a shift in the territory's economic foundation, from mining to agriculture, helped stabilize its population and attract long-term settlers. Irrigation projects transformed the southern part of the territory into productive farmland. At the same time, the expansion of the railroad network, especially the arrival of the Oregon Short Line in 1884, enhanced Idaho's connectivity with national markets and political centers. This improved transportation infrastructure strengthened the territory's case for statehood. Politically, Idaho's admission was part of a broader pattern of late 19th century statehood acts that brought Western territories into the Union. The 51st Congress, under the Harrison administration, oversaw the admission of several Western states, including North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and Washington in 1889. Idaho's petition for statehood was championed by influential political figures such as Delegate Fred Dubois, who advocated aggressively for admission. President Benjamin Harrison signed the proclamation admitting Idaho on July 3, 1890, just one day before Independence Day, underscoring the symbolic importance of integrating new territories into the federal union. The process of state formation required Idaho to draft a constitution, which was completed in 1889 and ratified by voters. The document reflected the conservative political climate of the period, including provisions to limit the influence of Mormon polygamists who had been politically active in southeastern Idaho. The anti-Mormon sentiment was codified in laws that disenfranchised those practicing polygamy, a controversial policy that had national repercussions and was part of broader federal efforts to limit the political power of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the West. Idaho's statehood also had economic consequences. It provided the state with greater access to federal support and representation in Congress. The new status attracted investors and encouraged population growth. Federal land policies continued to play a role in the state's development, with programs like the Homestead Act facilitating the expansion of family farms across the state's fertile valleys. Idaho's admission in 1890 reflected the transformation of the American frontier into a network of states integrated into the national framework. It represented the political maturity of a region that had evolved from remote mining camps into organized communities with permanent institutions. The event signaled the federal government's continued commitment to incorporating the Western territories, solidifying national boundaries, and promoting economic development across the continent. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.